Happy Friday and happy Labor Day weekend, folks. Kathy,
This is an exciting day for us.
it is.
As we approach Labor Day weekend, we want to share our 2020 labor of love with you. We've created several resources, some of you know this, and have joined, and we are really grateful for your following. These resources are for mid-singles, and our intention is to offer support and a place of elevation for mid-singles who want better than the negativity they hear a lot on just all around.
In social media and in the
Mhm.
regular world.
Right. And the name of our message is Love in Later Years. And we have created an Instagram page, a Facebook page, and a Facebook group. The Instagram page is mainly to produce beautiful photos that offer insights, parallels, and metaphors for mid-single life. And to throw in a personal touch, we'll also post some of our own dating adventures to hopefully get mid-singles excited about dating and offer ideas. And for the Facebook page, our our intention and our action over the last couple of months have been to produce videos that have a specific topic regarding mid-singles and explore those topics. And we usually just do it as we feel inspired to produce them.
And we may ask for, at some point, submissions from people who would like to add their own content, which we would welcome.
Mm-hmm. And then for the Facebook group, it's an organic place of discussion where where we will be promoting productive, positive commentary. Jeff and I actually met in a mid-singles group because we stood out to each other as positive people making productive comments. And we welcome mid-singles and even former mid-singles to connect on that group and offer each other support.
And we want the defining quality of that mid-singles group, Love in Later Years, to be positive, forward-looking, and upbeat. That doesn't mean you can't discuss the struggles that mid-singles go through and things like that, but we want to encourage them to be discussed from a positive and hopeful point of view.
Right.
And we believe that that's the best road to ultimately finding love and achieving the happiness that we want.
Right. And some have wondered if love in later years means like that we're old and elderly. Obviously not. We actually think that dating and relationships tend to get more complex after about 30. Obviously, that number can be earlier. If you're already married and divorced in your mid-20s, it's probably already complicated. So it's not like a hard, fast rule, but we're because our perspective is as mid-singles, that's what we have to offer. But we think anyone really who is in that category of love and relationships getting more complex is welcome to join us and will benefit from being a part of this community.
Yeah, in our Facebook group, we've already got 70 odd members, and looking for more. Welcome your friends, let people know.
And we're brand new on Instagram, but we've posted about 6 or 7 times already, and we'll keep posting, and we hope you'll join us there also.
Right, and now we have a big announcement to make, the announcement that we promised.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's our biggest labor of love this year.
And this is related to everything we've said, because the resources that we're trying to create also may lead to people who want something a little more in depth. So, Kathy?
Want me to do it?
Yep.
Okay. We have written a book, and it is, I want to say it's ginormous, but
it's a full-length book.
It is a full-length, comprehensive book for the challenges that mid-singles face. And as we looked around, we realized that that doesn't really exist right now. I mean, there's some books that touch on topics, but they don't address the whole thing. And as mid singles ourselves, we wanted a handbook, and we've heard other people say they wish there was a handbook, especially people um, who either have been mid singles for a long time and they're just so frustrated and fed up with it, they um, or they enter it like we did through divorce, and this is like a whole new world for them. And we were there for a long time, and so why did we write this book?
Well, we wrote the book for a number of reasons. Um, One is, as Kathy mentioned, we kind of wished that we had had a handbook when we both became mid singles that would have let us know kind of how to navigate this new territory
And
we were
help us
in.
not feel so alone in it, because it feels very isolating, even though there's many, many, many people going through it.
And we'll say that dating is a big part of what we talk about in this book. Nobody tells mid singles how it should be different or is different in dating in your middle years, perhaps if you've been married before or not, whether you're widowed, divorced, or never married. You may be looking for some guidance in, how do I get back into that game after decades of being away from it or never having really started it in some cases. I'm a really shy person maybe and don't know how to get going. We want to say that, but we also want to say that this is more than a book about dating tips.
A lot more.
It includes that, and it includes discussion of how to create a good relationship.
And we're going to go into that a little bit more later. But just why are the other reasons that we wrote the book?
Well, mid singles tend to get discouraged, and I think it's an underserved community when it comes to LDS speakers and authors, as well as perhaps in the larger community. Uh, some also don't know how to date and meet people, feel that they've, uh, maybe been out of circulation for a long time and, don't know how it's done now, particularly in the internet age and with smartphones and, how have those things affected dating.
Right.
What are new customs and traditions that have grown up around those things or just through the general evolution of our society? Those are a few of the ideas.
Mm-hmm. Another thing is emotional baggage and trauma that can get in the way of living a productive mid-single life. We know ourselves that has gotten in the way for us, and so we have our own unique perspective based on our own experience. There's also fear of rejection. That's a big one. I mean, if you
And that arises sometimes from that trauma that
yeah.
we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. There's also the complexities, which we discussed, happen, a little bit later in life, like as opposed to early 20s when you're in college and or even maybe just barely starting out in your career and you haven't ever been married before. Those are simpler times, to find a mate and get married. You're generally in a position to meet people more organically, and now it's almost all done online, which can be, yeah, like Jeff said, intimidating if that's not anything you've ever done.
When I was married to my first wife, we developed our parenting styles kind of together with the same children, and we kind of developed our own rhythm. And
And with
so
anyone
finding,
else, you have to develop a new rhythm as a couple.
and sometimes with children already built into the mix. And so,
Mm-hmm.
how do you incorporate children into your dating and relationship development? And we discuss that in the book.
And also, how do you handle former spouse issues, especially if you're co-parenting?
So, and how do you find time when you're working and have children perhaps that you're raising, and at times may have uh, other obligations. As many single moms go back to school after getting divorced or losing a spouse.
And many single dads have child support and other financial obligations that might feel daunting and overwhelming, and maybe that might be getting in the way.
Yeah, for some it's how can I afford, $30 to $50 to take someone out to dinner, let alone, other activities. Or how can I make a new relationship and a new family when I've got all of these other obligations already? So
Right.
those are
So,
fears and worries that people
and these
have.
are just a few of the issues that we address in the book. And even though each mid-single will have their very own unique circumstances, and we're aware of that because we had our own, we also have found through this process of writing that there's some general principles for resolving the challenges and the hardships that mid-singles tend to face.
Another one that I just want to mention, not to go back too far, but we sometimes feel as mid-singles in the church that we don't have a place and that our needs aren't really understood by the plethora of leaders that have never been in our shoes. And
we've wondered if maybe the reason this book has never been written is because either people are still mid-singles and don't feel like they've overcome those challenges yet, and then maybe if they have and they're remarried, they move on with their lives. And we've just been in a unique circumstance that has allowed us to have this time to be able to produce the wisdom and insights that we gained from that time.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting journey writing the book. The book was originally my idea, and I was actually single when I began it, but this was 5 or 6 years ago. And I
didn't know about this until this year.
No, I kind of started it, and I had the skeletons or the, sort of the beginnings of 4 or 5 chapters, very rudimentary beginnings. And I kind of decided at that point that I needed to shelve it. I wasn't really ready to write this book. I was still kind of too early on the journey to begin to put it together, but I had begun it because I was frustrated that nobody had done it. And then realized that I wasn't really ready to do it. So several months ago,
earlier this year.
Yeah, I had had a night when I couldn't sleep, and that happens to me, every so often, not a lot, but I went downstairs to my study and I thought maybe I would accomplish some work, but I didn't really feel like lawyering at 3 o'clock in the morning. I wanted something a little bit less heavy. And I noticed as I was clicking through my computer, oh yeah, there's that book about dating that I was going to write. And I clicked into it and I read some of it and I thought, this has possibilities. And I sat down and I finished a few of the chapters, at least at a better level than I had before. And the next day I told Kathy about it. And I said, I really think this idea has some promise.
And I remember I was sitting on the couch and I heard the idea and it just really spoke to me. And I told him I wanted to be involved.
She said, I want in. Those were her words.
That's right. And ever since, we've been writing. We've been writing our hearts out, and we wrote and we wrote and we wrote. And our first editor and friend, she's been great. And as we were telling her our word count, she's like, this is getting so big, you should split it into 2 books. But we're like, no, we want this to be like a comprehensive book about this topic. And once she read it, she actually not only said it was not redundant or too big, but she actually had us add a little bit. So we've gone to the efforts to unwrite anything that was extra already. And so all of it is really good, solid content. And our very first reader really liked it a lot.
We can tell you we're sometimes more vulnerable in the book than we're comfortable being even, but we share a lot of our own experience, a lot of our own mistakes.
Whatever we think will be helpful.
We pull in
reader.
Wisdom from other sources as well.
Mm-hmm.
Some church leaders, some people who are relationship experts, lots of different sources, but we've tried to pull together something that harmonizes well with our experience being mid-singles in the church, each for 7-ish years. And
we think it's a better book with both male and female perspectives. And that's something that our readers have enjoyed and been pointing out that they really like about the book, is that it trades voices. He has his font, I have my font, and you always know who's talking because we change fonts, and you'll get both perspectives on each topic.
We don't disagree all that much, but we have a very different way of putting things
We have
to
a
kind of
different
show
writing style.
different perspectives and different. Because while I might agree with her on a particular point, my emphasis might be on something totally different, and that's normal with two people, particularly where one is male and the other is female, and so we have unique perspectives, and hope that those who read the book will enjoy hearing both of our perspectives on the
Right.
various topics that we discuss.
And it's exciting. I just wanted to point out that the day that we launched the book into production, back in early August, was
That was when we finished our writing.
right. We finished our writing. We launched it out to our readers, our beta readers, so that we could get feedback before we
Published it.
publish it, right? So that it comes out a very polished book. And that was after we'd already had it edited, once around, and we're gonna have it edited more. So anyway, but I think it's interesting that the day we launched it into production, and we just felt this it's finished, it's complete, and it's whole, other than some polishing touches. That was the exact day, 8 years from the time I became a mid-single for the first time. And anyway,
and she hadn't thought about that until later, but
right, it wasn't intentional, it just happened, and it seemed fitting that 8 years from the day I became a mid-single and had no idea what I was doing, that I would be able to offer some wisdom and insight, hopefully to others in the same situation, that could benefit them.
And speaking of intentional, Kathy, would you like to give them the title?
Yes. The title of our book is Intentional Courtship, a mid-singles guide to peace, progress, and pairing up in the Church of Jesus Christ.
And so we do emphasize being intentional in this process. And Kathy and I, we've been married a little over 2 years, coming up on 2.5. We're really happy that we found each other. And it wasn't easy. Our love story's in the book. You can read all about it. It wasn't all, sunshine and rainbows. We had our ups and downs getting to where we got. But it was worth it. And we want other people to find what we found.
And we enjoyed being mid-singles. We found our place in that community, and we met a lot of really great people and enjoyed our journey. And we think that two happy people come together and create happy marriages. And so that's another goal in this effort that we're making, is to elevate the experience and the life of mid-singles to whatever degree we can.
My dad used to say a lot, you're about as happy as you make up your mind to be. And that isn't quoted in the book, but we believe that happiness has a lot to do with intention. And for mid-singles, we know life has probably dealt you a number of big blows. It has me. Kathy and I have each lost a spouse through divorce. We've each lost a sibling to death. Life hasn't all been perfect, but intention and making decisions that support our happiness is what we want to encourage. And this book is all about taking that journey. And we hope that you'll look forward to it coming out, that you'll read it, that you'll interact with it, and decide what kind of journey you want to have.
Right. And we believe that that peace can come through healing from the past. We believe that progress comes through personal development. And a large part of our book focuses on that. And we also believe that with peace and progress, it leads to intentional relational pairing. It's how we attract the best person for us, and also how we can create a new life with someone new.
Yeah. So that's what the book is about. It was a labor of love for us. We felt that there was a deep longing in the singles community for something like this. And so we've created it with that in mind, and we really hope that you enjoy it, that other books will be written too, that it will become a starting point for a lot of people to have more hope in their journey through this life. I got
And
remarried to this beautiful, stunning, astounding woman when I was 50. And so turning 40, being a mid-single, is not a death sentence. There's so much hope to be gained, uh, through the things that we've discovered. And I just hope that, and I would almost plead with you, read our book and other uplifting materials and start the journey.
right. We wrote the book with members of the church in mind, although we do believe that the principles can be applied to people with other religious values and cultures.
Very much.
It will be released in almost exactly 2 months on the inverse of our anniversary. We were married 5/11. It will come out 11/5.
Yep. 11/5 of this year. So
That's right.
there's about 2 months. It's going to come out on Amazon. That's the plan. And, we'll continue to remind you, but hope that you'll look forward to the book being released and getting your own copy. And
That's right. And we hope you'll join us on Instagram, our Facebook page, and our Facebook group, all at Love and Later Years.
so if you've
Love in Later Years. And actually, that's in short, it's Lily. Love in Later Years, Lily.
Yep. So, look forward to it, and we look forward to getting it out there for you.
Thanks so much for following.